While Edmonton is certainly not alone in this, it has been front and center in a debate on homelessness and how we should respond as a society. So get this, when police and city officials began dismantling camps in their city, a human rights group, Coalition for Justice and Human Rights, filed a lawsuit claiming that this approach placed vulnerable people in dangerous situations, thereby violating the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So definitely a hot take, and there's some different ways to go about this. The solution is obviously debatable, but you have to weigh positives and negatives on both sides. So I'm curious, what do you guys think were some ethical concerns when police were removing this? It's freezing outside. Freezing.
Like you couldn't wait till the spring.
Right? That's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, didn't we just say they hit record colds of -45?
Yes, but so on that point about waiting, some of the responses I heard from city officials or policemen was, well, if not now, then when? Like, it's just going to get worse. You have to nip it in the bud at some point, no?
Where did they bring the people?
Yeah, that's the real
That's what
question.
I want to know, is where they bring the people.
So they had opportunity to go to shelters, as far as I know. They had opportunity to go to shelters. There was a bus waiting for them, a warming bus to keep them warm.
Oh,
so let me bring a premise here for a second. Let's say the bus brought them to a homeless shelter where they were warm and they were fed and they got a bed. Is that not better than living in a tent in -45 degrees?
But then
it's not a long-term solution.
No, it's not a long-term solution.
It's better than living in a tent encampment, I would say.
I don't think it's, but one of the individuals who were living in the encampment said they had no interest in going to a shelter.
Okay.
And so I mean, I don't have any personal experience living in a shelter, but I do think that there are concerns for privacy and concerns with just being able to be in control of your own space.
Yeah.
You know, that is something that is important for everybody. And I think it's so difficult to just isolate the issue of homelessness. It has happened because of many different factors. So we need to look at, why has this become such an issue in the first place?
Look at the deeper root.
Yeah.
I mean, to compare it, San Francisco has a major problem with encampments.
San Francisco doesn't get -45-degree winters.
No, you're right. But they didn't nip it in the butt, and look at what's happened now. Edmonton's trying to do that, and their claim is for public safety. Is that a valid response? Is that a valid reason for doing what they're doing?
I don't think it, well, I don't think it's safe to live in -45 degrees in a park in a tent, or run those heaters inside the tents. Look what happened to the tent. You mentioned California. Look what happened to the 10 freeway in Los Angeles. That was caused by one of those generator fires.
Yeah.
I think the whole part of this crisis. Now we've gone from actually talking about the actual issue to defending living in tents. And I think the conversation needs a new narrative is, let's build housing for the homeless, and that's where the housing policy needs to be targeted to. The problem is not what happened 5 years ago. The problem is 40 years of bad and destructive policy.
I agree with that. Yes. But then what are they supposed to do right now? Just let it happen? This is the dilemma.
This is the thing, is how much money and resources are you really putting towards something like this? And how much public outcry are you getting as a result afterwards, right? Where look at all the people who are so pissed off about what you just did, and you still don't have what he's talking about, a long-term solution.
So what I'm hearing is, don't do it until you had the solution.
I agree.
Have the solution first.
I think that sometimes people come up with solutions. For example, in Hamilton, someone suggested using the armories as a place for people to stay. And there wasn't really a reason given for why that couldn't be done. Yep. Some sort of spokesperson just came onto the news and said, you know, it's actually very complicated and we can't do it.
Not in my backyard. That's the crisis. The not in my backyard. Yep. St. Catharines just did this where they bulldozed the arena. They're putting a mobile homeless shelter, 50 units to house 50 people. I posted about it and somebody messaged me angry that we were doing that. And the whole argument is, why are we giving free housing to people? Well, I think that's a hell of a lot better than letting them freeze to death in the streets.
That's a fair point. You gotta, at the end of the day, you gotta sympathize with people. You have to be humane. Let me ask you guys this. What precedent does this set for other municipalities in dealing with this issue? Because Edmonton's not the only one. Toronto is brutal.
Yeah.
Faces that bad.
I mean, like I was saying, I think the long-term solutions need to be the goal, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's always, it's like we were talking about with climate change, right? It's cyclical, right? So you're going to have one cycle of this where everyone's pissed off that they're taking away the tents. Then you're going to go, and the next year there's going to be something else that they're taking away from them. Everyone's going to get pissed off. But if you have a long-term solution, then you do something like that, but the long-term solution is in play, then people can look at that and say, okay, look, we're making progress.
Okay, thanks guys so much. We hoped you enjoyed the conversation today, but we want to hear from you, especially if you disagree or feel we missed something important. Join the conversation at My Generation on all platforms. We'll end off with this. Do not simply accept what you're told. Challenge your thinking, engage in differences, and listen to new perspectives. Thank you.